Now I'm aware that we have some very serious prayer warriors who are members of Club 1999, and I know that the following information, highly sensitive, highly secret, that I'm about to share will be of great benefit in helping them to find direction when praying and to help them generally understand where we are, because it's a very good idea. Indeed, it's vital that one knows exactly what is happening for them to be able to pray effectively for the country. Now, for the rest of us, a lot of the information you're about to hear, you may dismiss. A lot of the information you're about to hear, you may just brush aside, write off, and just think Chris has just gone crazy. Okay? But let me assure you of one thing. What is happening in our country right now is puzzling a lot of people. What is happening in our country right now is unexplainable. It is just so difficult to try and put your finger or to try and, get a handle as to exactly what is happening. Okay? Now, what does that tell you? It tells you that the situation is so crazy that for you to be able to put a handle on it, you need to consider some very crazy information. Yeah, that's really what it is. Now, one thing is abundantly clear, even to somebody who just relies on the mainstream media and newspapers. Yeah, somebody who doesn't have any relative in Kisumu, somebody who doesn't have anybody on the ground in Kisumu, even to that person, just pausing to think briefly after reading the information they read in the mainstream media, will know one thing for sure. Yeah, that the Luo are being targeted by the government, being targeted by the police for killing. Okay, that should be very obvious. Now the puzzle is why? Why? Now, because I've already warned you, I should just plunge ahead and tell you. To be able to fully understand what's going on now, we will need to go back in history. Yeah, to a date, 25th October 1969. Now, notice by a stroke of fate or by some crazy reason, the 25th of October is the eve of the scheduled repeat presidential elections. Yeah, so on 25th we'll be celebrating the 48th anniversary of this terrible thing that happened in Kisumu, and then the day after we'll be going for the general elections. Mere coincidence? Mere coincidence? I don't know. Okay? But let me just give you the facts as they are. On 25th October 1969, Luos were massacred in Kisumu. Okay? And they were massacred by the presidential guard of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, the first president of Kenya. Okay? Now to date, 48 years later, we still have no idea how many people are killed. Yeah? It is still classified government information. Now, there's something very distressing that has been happening in recent years. There have been people coming out and retelling the events of that fateful Saturday in October 25th, 1969, who are twisting the facts. People are obviously there, who are twisting the facts and creating a whole new narrative as to exactly what happened. Now, I have a very good idea what their motive is. I have a very good idea why they're saying what they're saying. Okay? But here are the true facts. And these are not the true facts from a textbook. These are not true facts from some research I did. Yeah? These are true facts from people who were there. Okay? Now, you know who has taught me politics? Now, the person who has taught me politics from when I was young is the person with this information. Yeah? He was in a neighboring county at the time. He saw President Jomo Kenyatta that day. I will not give the circumstances. Okay? And his colleagues, his very close colleagues, yeah, were actually there when it happened, and they recounted every detail to him. Okay? And that's how come I know exactly what happened that day. Now I can see him turning in his grave when he hears somebody whom he knew very well and somebody who he respected, yeah, telling the public lies about that day. And I'm talking about former police commissioner Njino. Yeah. Now on the photograph in your screens, the tall cop, yeah, dressed in a dark uniform, yeah, holding his hands up, that is Njino. Njino was head of the presidential guard at that time. Yeah, he had just taken over the job from Amzungu, who used to head. I didn't have time to go back and research to find out his exact name, but the person who was head of President Jomo Kenyatta's presidential guard before Njino took over was Amzungu. He had just taken over from Amzungu. Okay, and that's him. You can see on the photograph. He was there. He was right in the middle of it. He was right in the thick of it. And if there's anybody who would have been able to give accurate information as to exactly what went down, it would have been him. But he has chosen not to, for reasons best known to himself, and for reasons I have a very good idea why. Now I'll be making several recordings of other details which will help you fill in the gaps, yes, which will appear on the main channel, which will have less sensitive information, okay? So you can catch up on that in order to fill the gaps and understand this completely. But here for Club 1999 members, I want to limit myself to highly sensitive information, okay? So that when you watch those other YouTube videos which are in the public domain, you will easily be able to put two and two together. You'll easily be able to put everything together and understand completely what happened, okay? Now, what happened was that after the exchange between Jomo Kenyatta and Jaramogi Oginga Odinga and so on, the crowd got very rowdy, and what happened is that somebody in the crowd threw a chair at the president, towards the president, okay? There was no way the chair was going to reach the president, and even the person who threw it must have known that, okay? But this is one of the key pieces of evidence amongst very many others to prove that this event was actually stage managed, okay? Why was it stage managed? It was stage managed, yeah, for two objectives. One, it was stage managed to produce a bloodbath, okay? And the second reason it was stage managed was so that the whole circumstances of events in Kisumu would allow the government to take the next step, which they had prearranged and organized to take, especially in view of the fact that 1969 was an election year and the country was going to go into an election before the end of the year. And by the way, this was October already, yeah? Okay? 3 days later, KPU, which was Jaramogi Oginga Odinga's party, was banned, okay? And the leader was Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, and his deputy, the Honorable J.M. Dula, who was the Member of Parliament for Iveti South, were put under house arrest, and also a number of other KPU officials, okay? Now let's fast forward to the present time, yeah? It is clear that what we are seeing could be a repeat of 1969, the objective being to shut down Raila Odinga permanently from politics, okay? You'll notice that the killing started immediately after the presidential elections were completed. Yes, we started receiving reports of deaths and fracas in Kisumu, unrest in Kisumu, and the residents kept on persistently telling us that people were being killed. Nobody believed, nobody followed up. The press were conspicuously absent, and so whatever happened in Kisumu never really got the national attention it should have gotten at that very early stage, okay? National attention only came to Kisumu very late, yeah, after even bodies had been fished out of Lake Victoria. And indeed the residents had told us that bodies were being thrown into Lake Victoria, people were being killed and the bodies thrown inside there, yeah, and that is exactly what went down. Now today we've received a report of a child who was fired at by police. Now the child is in hospital, was in hospital today, and doctors were trying to manage the situation. By some miracle the child survived, okay? They had a bullet lodged around their shoulder, okay? Now the interesting thing is that this child was not a protester, yeah? This child was shot while playing with other children, yes, he was shot while playing with other children in a playground. Yeah. So what is this obsession with shooting at children? Okay. The reason children are being shot at is to provoke. Yes. The whole idea here is to provoke a very bad reaction from the Luo community, such serious unrest that the government would have an excuse to shut down Nyanza province literally, and to shut down, more importantly, to shut down the political career of one Raila Amolo Odinga. Now I will conclude this recording with the reason for the bloodbath. Yeah, I'm moving very quickly, but don't worry, you'll get in, you'll be filled in on the whole story in the series of videos I'm going to do, which are going to be on the public channel, but you'll be able to put this together very easily once you've gotten this very highly sensitive information. Now, for us to understand why a bloodbath was necessary, let's go back to the Mau Mau days. Now, after the Mau Mau had taken an oath, it was necessary for them to do a lot of bloodletting, yeah, kill a lot of innocent people, kill a lot of white people, okay, especially white people, and these white people were killed in such a horrible way, yes, that it horrified the British government. Okay, there was a lot of blood poured. Now, why? The reason is very simple. When a blood oath is taken, it needs to be solidified, it needs to be supported, it needs to be escorted by blood, human blood. Okay, you can do your own research on that, and you'll be able to find out that what I'm telling you is absolutely 100% accurate. Now, 1969 is also the year when the Jomo oaths had reached their climax. Yeah, the Jomo Kenyatta oaths. Yeah, the House of Mumbi oaths, which were designed to protect the presidency. Yes, especially against the Luo community. And therefore, the bloodbath was necessary to solidify, to firm up, to escort the oaths that were taken, yeah, at that particular time. Now, you all know I received very impeccable information that the oaths resumed last year, or rather there were some oaths renewed and taken last year, okay? And I received this from an impeccable source, and I also received this from 2 different independent sources of information, okay? Now, I know a lot of people here in Club 1999, or rather one person in particular here in Club 1999, has just written that off and said that unless we supply him with photographs of the people taking the oath, he will not believe it, okay? And that is democratic right. It's perfectly in order for him to demand that, okay? But obviously, people who take oaths will not surrender themselves to photography. They will not even allow anybody near what they're doing to have anything like a cell phone or anything that could take a photograph of what is going down. Yeah, oaths are highly secret things. Now, if you've taken in my other recording where I've talked a bit about the oaths, the way these things are so disgusting, you will understand what I'm talking about, because it involves, you know, putting meat in a woman's private parts when she's going through her monthly periods, and especially women who are in prostitution, etc., etc. A lot of very disgusting things. Sleeping a whole night with a prostitute who's undergoing a monthly period, and so on and so forth. Yeah, things which are so distasteful, disgusting, that I'm even embarrassed talking about them here. Okay? Now, the bloodbath going on in Kisumu is conclusive proof that actually those blood oaths were taken. Okay? Because go back to the Mau Mau, during the Mau Mau 50s, yeah? Go back to the Jomo oaths of 69, yeah? And now we're in 2017, same thing. Okay? Now, I'm trusting my Club 1999 members will take this information with the maturity it deserves. This is not the kind of information to share widely. Definitely not. It's very highly sensitive. Okay? And definitely the oath takers and the oaths will hit back. Yeah? At anybody who wants to share this information widely with others and, you know, brag about it, etc., etc. Yeah? Just trust me. Don't try. Okay? Now, alarmingly, what this means for us as a country is that we are headed towards chaos. Yes? What this means for us as a country is that it will be very difficult for us to avoid a bloodbath. Okay? And indeed, this bloodbath is already on course. It is already happening right before your eyes. You have been able to see all those dead bodies that are turning up with bullet wounds. Yes? We even had a very disgusting incident yesterday, or rather, I think 2 days ago, when the boy was shot while buying ice cream or selling ice cream or whatever, and had a bullet lodged in their neck. Multiple eyewitnesses said that the police came and they slit his throat open to remove the bullet. So no evidence. Okay? Because bullets are evidence, yeah, they can be traced back, they can say, yeah, these are bullets from such and such a place, etc., etc. Personally, I suspect that the reason why the country is going through this horror story is because the older generation advisors, yeah, gained the president's ear, especially starting from towards the end of last year, yes, and they're the ones in control, and they're the only ones who would have come up with such a crazy, bizarre, macabre, and difficult to understand strategy as this one. Okay, but it is a reality. It is what is happening. It is what is unfolding before our very eyes. Maybe now you can understand a little better why a legislator, a member of parliament with brains, yeah, who reads newspapers, open to the media, in fact should have more information than the rest of us, actually comes up on national television and tells us that this so-called shooting of people in Nyanza does not exist. That in fact it is a strategy of NASA, yes, it's a strategy of NASA to cause chaos, yeah. It is actually NASA which is behind the shooting and the killing of people in Nyanza. Wow, yeah, I think now you can understand that a little better. Going forward, I'll be doing a lot of these highly secret, high sensitive information recordings, so that Club 1999 members can be able to fill in, yeah, the missing blanks, the missing details that are not there in our usual YouTube videos, and will therefore be ahead of the game, will know exactly what's going down. Yeah. Until the next time we record here, this is Chris Kumekucha.